What's going on with that PPP? You done a lot of talking, not a lot to see. Up in the millions like 2.3, but Jeff got it all, getting off scot-free. Try to talk tips like we talking about stock, but you're talking about men printed on called stock. When you open your mouth, I take it with a grain of salt, cause the market's down and you're a clown, it's all your fault. You ruin the hobby I love with your bullshit. Jeff Wilson, Jeff Wilson. You ruin the hobby I love with your bullshit. Jeff Wilson, Jeff Wilson. Did you dip, Jeff? I think you dipped, Jeff. What you talking about? I don't think you dipped yet. Willie's doing shady shit like the GOBs, like his whole failed thing with them NFTs, taking money from the people to pay. Most of them are broke, but that's okay, he's getting money. Even better, tax-free, loving all the stimulus from PPP. You ruin the hobby I love with your bullshit. Jeff Wilson, Jeff Wilson. You ruin the hobby I love with your bullshit. Jeff Wilson, Jeff Wilson. You ruin the hobby I love with your bullshit. Jeff Wilson, Jeff Wilson. You ruin the hobby I love with your bullshit.
Play that back, DJ. Play that back. Play that back. One more. One more time. We got cards to show off over here. We got great running backs to show off.
What's going on with that PPP? You done a lot of talking, not a lot to see. Up in the millions like 2.3, but Jeff got it all, getting off scot-free. Try to talk tips like we talking about stock, but you're talking about men printed on called stock. When you open your mouth, I take it with a grain of salt, cause the market's down and you're a clown, it's all your fault. You ruin the hobby I love with your bullshit. Jeff Wilson, Jeff Wilson. You ruin the hobby I love with your bullshit. Jeff Wilson, Jeff Wilson. Did you dip, Jeff? I think you dipped, Jeff. What you talking about? I don't think you dipped yet. Willie's doing shady shit like the GOBs, like his whole failed thing with them NFTs, taking money from the people to pay. Most of them are broke, but that's okay, he's getting money. Even better, tax-free, loving all the stimulus from PPP. You ruin the hobby I love with your bullshit. Jeff Wilson, Jeff Wilson. You ruin the hobby I love with your bullshit. Jeff Wilson, Jeff Wilson. You ruin the hobby I love with your bullshit. Jeff Wilson, Jeff Wilson. You ruin the hobby I love with your bullshit.
What is going on, everybody? Hopefully, guys are doing well out there. That is right. It is another Thursday night here on the Sports Card Radio. We are joined none other than by Ryan, and we've got a busy show planned for all of you today here on, again, a Thursday night. We appreciate all of you joining Sports Card Radio again in its 15th season, producing content about trading cards, about pictures of men, and about this hobby that we all love to enjoy. On today's schedule, we've got backyard breaks dipping a logo, man. So we definitely have got to talk about that. We had a hater, maybe one of the biggest haters in the history of Sports Card Radio. Well, we've taken a few shots at him too. Well, he sent us an email. And so we will reveal the mystery email that we got over the past week from a hater. We'll reveal the contents. We'll discuss the contents. We'll discuss the implications. And we'll discuss our relationship with the hater moving forward. We've got fanatics potentially dipping Prism cards out of the hands of Panini. We've got to talk about that. And then obviously we've got some big items ending tonight. None other than our boy Will Grier. We're going to try to win this Immaculate Collection Collegiate patch. Will Grier, we're currently high bid at $27. Please don't run over to Golden Auctions and outbid us, because this is a card we absolutely want in our collections. Talk about that a little bit. Talk about some of the cards we've been buying, particularly the cards we've been selling quite a bit over here on Check Out My Cards. I think last week our balance was far less than this. Might have been single digits. We don't have a 9-figure bank account over here at Sports Card Radio, but we currently have a 3-figure bank account over on Check Out My Cards. Ryan, what is going on with you?
Just hanging out, been trying to sell a lot of cards, buy a lot of cards, look at a lot of cards, fondle a lot of pictures of men over the last 3 weeks. We've sold over actually $1,000, not $1,000, 1,000 cards over at Check Out My Cards. That's why we now have a 3-digit bank account over there. So we're extremely excited, extremely happy about that. We've probably purchased, I don't know, about 250 cards on eBay. Got a 34 card lot of our old friend Brandon Ingram of the formerly of the Lakers, now of the Pelicans. So got a big 34 card lot, rookie card lot of him. Bought another probably 200 to 300 cards on eBay in the last 3 or 4 days. Sold 3 cards on Mr. 5 Acres himself, Ken Golden. He is not running any fees, so maybe he's actually losing an acre or two here as he's not charging any fees on his marketplace. You know, we've gotten a lot of comments and questions about fees. It's really nice to actually sometimes buy a card. It goes over to the PSA vault and then you sell it, and there's actually 0 fees involved with that. So maybe toward the end, maybe we'll talk about that. I know we got a lot of drama to discuss in the last few days. There has been a lot of drama in the sports card world with Backyard, and we've got mystery email to announce. Colin, what do you want to start it off with? We've got the meme of the day. Looks like a small Fanatics dog sniffing the undercarriage of Mr. Backyard Breaks. Sans Nikki Rips and Sarah Rips, who are gone from the backyard, but it looks like the Fanatics dog is still all up in the Backyard Rips as we're watching them. Looks like they're shuffling cards. Is this Las Vegas? No, wait, this is a Backyard Break stream. So what do we got? What happened last night with Backyard? More drama with Backyard. It seems like every other month we come on and talk about them, either with some supposed loaded boxes. We have some of their breakers leaving to go to start rival companies. But now what do we have here, Colin? What was this drama that started last night?
Well, this broke last night. It appears that there was a break of some kind of product, a higher end product, where you can get LOGOMANs of particularly good players. And apparently there was a break going on. Now, I've not seen evidence of this break, as I don't believe you record streams on Whatnot. It's one of the weaknesses, in my opinion, of Whatnot, and maybe it's part of the allure as well, that you actually have to tune in live to view these types of things. But it appears that Backyard Breaks ran a break last night, and it wasn't filling, which brings up, one of the first arguments that the simps that I'm sure will be, clocking in for $0.0 per hour and making different types of arguments for Backyard Breaks is that they are so big and they have so many customers and they're breaking all the time and they're breaking all this product and they're the biggest and baddest breaker in the universe. And yet Grant, one of the owners and operators of Backyard Breaks, has to buy into his own break. And so the break is not filling. And in order for that break to go off during Grant's probably allotted time, he had to buy into the break himself. And he subsequently hit an Anthony Edwards LOGOMAN. Now, I don't think this is an Anthony Edwards rookie card LOGOMAN, which obviously would have extreme value. But look, an Anthony Edwards LOGOMAN card of any season, of any variety, is a high-end type of card. And breakers buying into their own breaks is not something that I'm very familiar with, particularly over the last couple of years. Now, some people might say, what do these sports card radio dudes know about breaking? Well, I reminded you at the top of the show, this is our 15th year producing content here on the internet about sports trading cards. The earliest podcast, the earliest production about group breaks was actually a sports card radio show back in 2008. Back in 2008, this was well before Jeff Wilson got his first PPP loan, let alone his second. We were talking about group breaks here on the channel. Ryan, you attended the industry summit. I believe it was probably in 2010 or maybe 2011, where you witnessed the first get together of all the quote OG breakers, people like Mojo Break, people like Leighton Sports Cards, people like Fire Hand Trading Cards. They all got together and discussed this new and developing business inside the hobby called group breaking. And over the years, there has been, no formal rules. There's not a breaking constitution, if you will, but buying into your own break, Ryan, buying into your own break when you're supposedly the biggest breaker in the hobby, buying into your own break. Well, forget what you pulled. We'll talk about that more in a second. Buying into your own break, is that something that you heard? And is that something that you believe should go down at some of the quote biggest breaking operations in this hobby? Should the owners of the breaking operation be buying into their own breaks?
Just from what I've heard and the breakers that I know and the breakers that I talk to, it's generally frowned upon. Now, I think there's context to everything. There's context to every break. So I could see a scenario where maybe to fill a break, maybe the breaker buys a couple spots or takes a couple spots. But generally it is very much frowned upon. And I think when we're talking about high-end products, like whatever they were opening, National Treasures or Flawless or whatever that Anthony Edwards came out of, I think it's generally frowned upon amongst the group break community, amongst the older guys. Now the backyard crew's a newer generation, and maybe they see things differently, and they want to take the gamble and buy into their own spots, and their customers allow that. But generally, the older crowd of group breakers, this is frowned upon, that you would buy into your own breaks.
Absolutely. And not only on top of that, I think it flies into a little bit of the argument that Backyard Breaks is so big. Backyard Breaks has all these customers. They have all these people in the room. A lot of it is just, just after the teenage years. That's what I guess. A lot of these guys don't have a lot of money. They're just in there scrounging around for the freebies. Imagine if we gave free stuff away here on the program, how many of these little simp lords would tune in and try to get a free $5, $10, $15 pack of cards. But it kind of flies in the face that they have all these customers if Grant is having, and I saw many people say that he actually kind of routinely or he regularly buys into the break. And the other argument that I saw is, well, Grant routinely buys into his own breaks, which again is from all, most breakers that you would ask outside of maybe the really, really new ones. Buying into your own break is not really something that happens a lot. Okay. When I go to the MGM, I don't really want to sit next to the floor man and play blackjack. I don't really want the president of MGM coming down and playing craps with me because, it's really in his best interest that I lose money. It's in his best interest that he wins money. And so, look, again, there's no regulator in these types of things. That's why we're on here discussing these types of things. But I saw some arguments when it comes to backyard breaks is they were saying, well, there was this Anthony Edwards logo man that was hit in this break, but Grant buys into these breaks all the time. And sometimes he misses. Sometimes Grant doesn't hit the big card every time. What do you have to say about that? The fact that, yes, he hit a logo man this time. We'll look past the fact that an owner of a breaking operation is actually buying into his own breaks. We'll look past that. And we'll talk about how, yes, he hit a big card here, but when he's buying into these breaks, he's not always hitting these big cards. What do you have to say about that?
Again, I think it's very possible. I think it's highly unlikely that Grant is sitting there and with the box in front of him and he knows an Anthony Edwards logo man is going to come out. I highly doubt that's probable. Now, what I have seen him do specifically is he will take unopened boxes and he will kind of weigh them. He'll kind of press his like, oh, that one's kind of heavy. Oh, that was a good box. That's not a good box. I've seen him do this to boxes. That's on camera. Now, off camera, they could be taking these boxes that they have, and they mostly sell. They don't sell products by the case. They sell unopened. We've seen their stream. They put a couple boxes on the table and they sell it. They don't sell boxes by the case. So what they probably do is they get the cases of product in, they cut them open, and I imagine off camera and away from everyone, they are weighing these boxes. So perhaps a box with an Anthony Edwards logo man card, which is a thick card and has a big piece of jersey piece, that might physically weigh enough to register on a scale so that when you're comparing National Treasures boxes, you could say, hey, we don't know what's inside here, but this is 3 grams heavier than these other 3 boxes or an average weight box. That is what I guess happens at that Backyard, at probably a majority of breaking companies, at probably every online box seller, is that to a degree, when they get these boxes in, they are physically weighing them. That's one reason why, we don't buy unopened product over here. That's one reason why we don't sell unopened product, because there's just a trust level there that unless you're buying unopened cases, and even then there's some risk there, or you could be like Logan Paul and some G.I. Joe cards pop out. But there's always risk there when you're not. And then, of course, we've been on an 8-hour live stream where we talked about the potential for Backyard Breaks getting loaded cases directly either from a manufacturer or distributor or some other thing. So to me, I don't think Grant is sitting down knowing the Anthony Edwards is in there, but there is a probability that he knows something heavy is in there. So that's when he buys in. Now, he may or may not hit it, but if he's selling divisional rounds, I guess he has a 1 in 4 chance of getting that card. And to him, for a gambler, a lot of times you're just looking for a slight edge. If you're in a casino, if you're betting sports, you're not going to be 100%. You're literally just looking for maybe that slight edge, in the line, the way the line moved, maybe toward the end. You're just looking for maybe some kind of information on a player, on the weather, on whatever is going on. You're just looking for a slight edge, and that's when you bet. And Grant, when he buys into his own breaks, maybe he knows about that slight edge. And so maybe that's the time to be in his breaks, is because he knows something good is coming out. So if I were to guess what's happening, this is just a guess, I think they're probably weighing the boxes. I've seen him literally do it kind of ad hocly on camera. He's picking up the boxes. It's very possible that, yes, he knew something was in that box that was heavy. That's why he bought in, and he hit it. So if his customers allow that, so be it. I certainly would not be, buying into the breaks. Weren't we told that these guys break cards all the time? They're literally shuffling cards all the time. Boxes of cards do not get opened at Backyard Breaks 24/7, guys. So can we dispel that myth? It's a prime time. We're at 8:45 Eastern, 5:45 Pacific time, and they're showing you whatever their little game they have to run here. This is probably illegal what they're doing here, but that's probably for another stream. So Colin, what do you think? Do you think Grant knows what's in the box, or is he weighing the boxes? Is it a loaded box?
He's probably weighing the box. I think he's probably weighing the boxes. And, whether or not he gets loaded boxes, I think we saw evidence when didn't they get a Topps exclusive product, and then they pulled essentially the product hit of the Babe Ruth autograph or whatever came out of there. And so, yeah. And I think you brought up a point, people have talked about how they could rig random.org and how they could, every time I see them do randoms, they're racing these stupid ducks and they're shuffling cards, which appear to me to be two things that would be a relatively easy to rig if you felt like it. But, to emphasize the point that Grant doesn't hit every single time. Well, guys, a card counter doesn't hit every single time. A sports bettor that has a large edge when it comes to information, they don't hit every time. You're just looking for a small edge in these types of things. And how even Grant, knucklehead like he is, even he's not dumb enough to buy every time he buys into his break, he hits a 1-of-1 LOGOMAN. Okay. And so look, scammers can be relatively intelligent about how they scam and those types of things. And so I think he is just looking for an edge. I think he's looking, and buying into his own break. Again, we're kind of glossing over the fact that buying into your own breaks is very similar, in my opinion, to maybe bidding on your own auctions. If we had some auctions going off onto ComC, you can have cards in your ComC account, send them over to eBay. There's really nothing stopping you from kind of bidding whatever auction you have up there. Same thing with Golden. You could send something to Golden. This could be our freaking Will Grier card, and we could be sitting on here and, maybe not on the account that we used to send it in, but obviously you can mask your IP, you can do all those types of things, and you could bid on this card as well. And so Grant buying into his own spots just so the brake goes off. In my opinion, I saw a lot of people say how generous he was, how generous Backyard Brakes is. Generous would be taking the spots that don't fill and distributing them to either the people that did buy in, distribute them to the people in the chat that don't have the money to buy in, or figuring out another way to equitably distribute those spots. That, in my opinion, would be generous. That would be generous. Taking the spot on your own where your costs are, look, we don't know his cost on these types of things. His cost could be next to nothing buying into these brakes. By the time you have them 80% filled, the cost, you could have already made your money. He's basically just free rolling to get these spots. He could easily give them away. He could distribute them for a very low price. That's what most breakers I see do. Obviously, there are teams and there are spots and there's certain products. You get down to the last 4, 5, 10 spots, whatever it is, and it's not selling. You start dropping the price. And at some point, $4, $5, $6, $7, $10, people tend to be willing to buy in. That would be my take on that. Do you have any more further thoughts on the further backyard drama that we've seen? As again, these breakers, this is a Fanatics dog right here. This dog is Fanatics. This is Backyard Brakes. And anybody that thinks Backyard Brakes isn't going to be propped up by Fanatics over the next 12 months is, it's crazy. This is going to be the poster child of brakes. They'll probably pick a couple other guys that are in that same age demographic and that have the energy to come on here and stream, quote, 24/7. They're not breaking cards 24/7, but they're on camera showing you, their deck of cards 24/7. Well, that is who Fanatics is going to want to partner with. You got any more comments on the backyard?
Well, I believe one of the advantages to Whatnot in these live platforms is the ability to just auction off something, auction off a brake spot, auction off a card, auction off practically anything. So if Grant needed to liquidate a spot, I don't know why he's buying in when he could actually set that at $1 and run an auction on Whatnot. So I guess I would have to see the video. I'm confused as to why he even had to buy into the break in the first place. Again, it leads to more question as to, why he was buying in the first place. Did he know he had an edge? Did he know something good was inside? Was it just a whim? But why doesn't he auction these spots off? It's one thing if you're trying to sell some stuff and you're on, say you're breaking on YouTube and you don't have the ability to run a live auction like you can on Whatnot. So I'm just confused as to why, he needed to buy into his own break. We got outbid on Will Grier. Are you kidding me?
I'm bidding on it. Bidding on it.
I think it might be a $50 card if I were just to.
Okay, well, I'm at $40 with buyer's premium right now.
He had a good college career. I mean, so somebody likes him.
Tesla.
So anything else on Backyard? I think it's important to talk about, just because these guys are the biggest, just because potentially Fanatics will put these guys as literally the face of their trading card brand. It'll be interesting to see if on the Fanatics app, if they have some sort of standardization for breakers, if you're able to buy into your own brakes, if there's some sort of rules or laws that breakers have to abide by. But what I think it's important, people, hey, why are you talking about them? So, hey, if these guys are so big, if these guys are going to be the face of the industry, I think it is important to, and just talking about how brakes are run, I think are important. Should group breakers be allowed to buy into their own? As we watch a duck race here, I mean, this is, if somebody really wanted to look into this, I think every single one of these breaks is illegal. Every single freaking one. Breaks some kind of
what other breaker does a duck race? I mean, we've got a duck race, guys.
There it is. That was a quick race. That was like a little 10-yard dash. That was like a little 10-yard shuffle at the NFL Combine.
Those are some quick ducks right there. I tell you what, before we get to the next topic where we're going to be revealing the mystery hater email, I want to go through some of the chat. We've got plenty of people here joining us on the screen. I see Backyard Brakes has about 207. They are supposedly the biggest. We are not giving anything away. We're not going to do any duck races. And I think we have over 700 people tuning in today. Thank you, chat. Tim in the background. We have a producer today here on Sports Card
Yes.
Radio. We are moving up the freaking ladder over here at Sports Card Radio. I'm going to roll through some of these star comments, Tim, in the background. I'm going to start with this one. And it says, does anyone have Downtown Sarah's number? I need to talk to her immediately. Ryan, I think you've been in communication with Sarah. Do you have any inside information on what's going on with Sarah?
I'm way too old, first of all, to even be communicating with Sarah. So no, I don't have any inside information with her. As far as I know, she's actually dating Nikki Rips, the former backyard breaker. So I absolutely have, no contact with her outside of professional contact. She let me know that, she left the backyard and she was moving on to other things. But yeah, I'm a freaking 40-year-old man. That girl, like I said, is way too young for me. So, and she's dating Nikki Rips presently. So
very nice. We have Kevin Patrick. Thank you very much. $5 super chat. He says, I call first crack at Geoff's wife after he goes down for PPP fraud. You dip, Daniel. Now play that back again, DJ. We'll play that. We'll play that song back at the end of the show. Card price dips. Sports Card Radio flips. That's right. Can you work us through the COM process? Yes, we will get to our bidding after we reveal the mystery email. We will show that. Did you guys see eBay seller stole Blaze Jordan's one-of-one picture and made sales posts for it and got caught, then took it down? I don't think I saw that. We'll have to maybe do a video on that. We'll see. Jabs was crying like a little bee on YouTube when his wife left him. That guy is definitely not a fighter. That is absolutely certain on that one. Pac-Man also says he gets permission to open early from Panini in the past. I've seen that across the board with breakers these days. They're giving him an exclusive 2-3 day window. That's good. That's only going to continue. Fanatics is going to push these types of things even harder into the future. And they are just going to continue to elevate the guys. Again, 200 people on a breaking screen, which is what Backyard Drips is doing right now. That's huge. That's huge in this hobby. And Fanatics sees that. I tell you what, Fanatics, Michael Rubin, if you're watching, we have 3 times as many tuning in. We are not giving us anything away. If you send us loaded boxes, we'll open them up here and we'll give them away to the chat.
Absolutely.
So Panini, Topps, Upper Deck, Leaf. I know you guys are watching. I actually know this for a fact. The employees at Panini watch. The employees at Topps watch. The employees at Fanatics watch. I know the boss at Leaf watches. Guys, send us your product, load it up. We'll open it up. We'll show it on camera. And we have 700 people here that would like to get your products for free. We'll even ship it to them for free. We won't be like Jabs and charge them, shipping for those. What do you guys collect for your personal collections? Do you collect signed memorabilia as well? Maybe a little bit. My personal collection's a little light. I got a Tiger Woods autograph that I got in person. I've got an Eddie Vedder autograph that I bought and I framed. I collect watches and then I sell them. I don't really collect a whole lot. I'm sure as I get older, things will move in that direction. But 6 years I bought a house, and there it is. Ghost Picks Jimmy 1999. Should talk about Backyard runs their own flamethrowers, just overpriced resale cards they have. Their comps are comical. Ghost Picks Jimmy, thank you for the 1999. We have been streaming, folks, for 29 minutes, and Backyard Breaks is open 0. And again, Fanatics, Topps, Upper Deck, Panini, Leaf, any of the card manufacturers out there, you know how to contact us. You guys know how to contact us. Send us your product within the first 30 minutes of being live. We'll open it up and we'll actually give it away to the faithful instead of running duck races and shuffling cards and having what appears to be a minor on camera there over at Backyard Breaks. Ryan, do you think it's time? Do you think it's time to now reveal? Do you think it's time to reveal the mystery email? We got a lot of guesses. We got an email. This was on February 21st. That was just 2 days ago. It says, hey guys, that should be your first clue. I'm probably the last person you expected to hear from. There's probably a few other people, honestly, in my life.
Oh, there's a lot. About 20 girls that I know.
yeah, that you saw once and then didn't call him. So he says, I'm probably the last. I said he, so it's definitely not Backyard Sarah, unfortunately. I'm probably the last person you expected to hear from, given our other issues. He calls them issues. I don't think we have any issues. I don't have any issues. Yeah. But I felt it was important that I email you about this. The first person, you, and then I blacked the rest out. We got a lot of great guesses, Ryan. We've got Santiago Sports Cards. I got, obviously, 5 acres on a golf course. Ken Golden. I got Seablaz. I'll be honest with you, I'm been more friendly with Seablaz over the past few weeks, and I have less of a problem. It doesn't mean I won't disagree with him. Doesn't mean that if he says something that I disagree with, I won't point it out, but I like Seablaz. I respect Seablaz. And if Seablaz and Sports Card Radio ever crosses paths, we will try to get him to do a dance video with us so we can post it for everybody to see that. I think he probably has better dance move than us, but that's what it is. Lots of other guests. Will Grier, Luka Doncic. Who else might have been a guess on this types of things? Will Jamit, Jeff Wilson, Gary Moser,
Brent Higgins,
Gary V, any number of card trimmers. A lot of people that we've had issues with. Josh Cade. There's a good one. Mark Sapir. We're going way back. A lot of you guys, Kevin Isaacson. we're in our 15th. Yeah, Kevin Isaacson. We're in our 15th year over here at Sports Card Radio. A lot of you have questioned, like, how could you be talking about Kenny Golden so bad and then go over to a site and bid on it? Guys, you know how many times Leafs Brian Gray threatened to sue us? We were called to testify against his company in a grand jury type situation. Like, we were literally in court documents. Upper Deck wanted us to come testify against him. And 6 months ago, Brian Gray appeared on our live stream. Okay. I think a couple of weeks later, one of Brian Gray's employees happened to bid on the company's own cards on eBay. And so we brought that out and we talked about that. And then Brian Gray contacted me privately, and I think he said something publicly that he was going to clean that up. I've talked privately with Brian Gray, not over the last 30 days, but over the past year, we've actually had a pretty decent relationship. Again, this is somebody that threatened to sue us. This is par for the course. People threatening to sue us, people threatening to, put us down or whatever, us having very contentious relationships, and then us later inviting them on a live stream, us buying their products. How many times has Panini screwed you guys over with a redemption card? You guys are still going to buy Panini cards, right? How many times has PSA graded? Thank you, Brenda Lee, $9.99 for the super sticker.
Thank you,
Brenda Lee. You are a superstar over at Sports Card Radio. $9.99. Thank you very much. You've just reinforced our point that the simps are going to clock in and defend backyard breaks, and they'll make absolutely zero. But Sports Card Radio just made $9.99. Thanks to you, Brenda Lee. Really appreciate it. But look, we've bought and sold on every single site there is. The Pit, eTops, sites that don't even exist, Sports Lots, ComC, eBay, Facebook Marketplace, Macari, Golden, Heritage, Pristine, PWCC. Our videos that we were posting in 2020, 2021, routinely talked about PWCC. The year before, we sent the FBI over to their door. So we have problems with people, but it doesn't mean that it's personal. But with this emailer here, it has gotten personal. When Ryan made a video and said that Jeff Wilson wife slid into his DMs. So Jeff Wilson wanted to email us and clear up the fact that his wife did not actually slip into his DM. Ryan was being catfished. No, I'm just kidding. None other than the sports card investor, Jeff Wilson. This is either a very deep fake or this is actually the Jeff Wilson that emailed us just 2 days ago. He says again, hey guys, I'm probably the last person you expect to hear from, but I felt it was important to email you about this. The first person you showed in your sports card vlog is terrible. So we showed this guy. Show that more in a second. We'll get to that. We'll have more stories about him in a minute. He went to the National last year and was actively trying to rip kids off during a trade night. My son alerted me to he was offering kids suspicious trade deals. So I went over and observed, and it was horrible what he was trying to do. He was telling kids that $3 cards were worth $1,000. In our 3 minutes with this guy, that story probably checks out. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Jeff is not lying.
Story checks out with this guy. And offering them the quote trade of their life to trade their $200 card for his quote $1,000 card. I kicked him out of trade night, which caused quite a scene. This is the photo of the guy. I don't know why it didn't load. I have video of it. I didn't post it in part because I was worried about the legalities of posting it. Okay. Clearly over here.
Send it to us. Yeah. Send it to us, Jeff. We'll post it.
Send us the video, Jeff, and we'll roast this guy. We'll find his background. We'll post his whole criminal. I'm sure he has a criminal record. We'll post that. Don't worry, Jeff. We got you. And in part because soon after I was told by a few people at trade night that he was already under police investigation. Story probably checks out there. If you're at a card, look, if you were actually at a card show 10 years ago, you were probably under police investigation. Card shows, which we'll talk about here in a minute, have gotten a lot less seedy over the last couple of years, which I think is a good thing. I was pretty shocked to see him in your video. I was hoping he was long gone from the hobby. Clearly, no, he's setting up at the San Jose card show. My son and I did a video discussing the situation on his YouTube channel to help protect other kids from this happening. Here's the video. I think you said you even watched this video. I'll commend Jeff's son. I mean, one thing that will never, I wouldn't say never, but one thing I can't criticize Jeff about is being a good father. I've seen his kid on video. I've seen his interactions with this kid. This guy's an A+ dad. Anybody would be lucky to call this guy your father. Okay. All the other stuff is business, in my opinion. Classic pack breaks, $20. Cheers to outselling backyard breaks tonight. How many people at backyard breaks got? He's got 230. That's
Where's
strong.
the shuffle?
They haven't. Where are they breaking?
That
are
is
they
good.
breaking anything?
200 people is still a lot.
That's great. He's got a ton of product up here, but I don't see any of it being open. Finally, to finish up the email with Jeff, I am sure, thank you, Classic Park Breaks, for the $20. You guaranteed that we made more than the simps that will chime in to our comments here in the chat and on Twitter and Instagram that will defend these people for $0 per hour. We just made $20 thanks to Classic Park Breaks. Thank you very much. I am sure you didn't know this, or I'm sure you wouldn't have clued him in. Actually, if I would have known he was a criminal, he would probably been the first person I would have gone up to at a show. And if I would have known this, I would have been able to include it into the video. But we spent Ryan? We spent literally less than probably 30 minutes at the show. And then we dipped and we went to a nicer part of San Jose and had lunch and walked around and viewed the merchandise, if you will. And then, I spent a decent amount of time editing. I spent way more time editing that video than we did actually at the card show. I felt it was important for you to know. And frankly, we need to do something about him. Ryan, your initial thoughts on being emailed by none other than double dipped PPP loan, 2.3, maybe it's 2.1. I can't remember, but 2.3 rhymes with more words.
Who's counting?
Who's counting? Yeah. When you're at over 2 million and an extra 300,000 or 200,000, not going to do anything. Your initial thoughts on being emailed by none other than the sports card investor, Jeff Wilson's, about a video we posted just a couple of days ago.
Well, yeah, I just had to, we had to get to the bottom of the email, and there was not like a PS, here are you being served with a lawsuit or whatever. So I guess, so
making progress.
You mentioned it prior. We've been in this industry 15 years. We've talked about practically everybody in this industry, probably in a positive light and a negative light. And so I'm not surprised that at some point we'd have some kind of interaction with Jeff Wilson. And aside from the fact that we got an email from Jeff Wilson, what the story checks out from Jeff Wilson. This guy, the interaction we had with this guy was, somewhat comical. He didn't know who we were. Not that he should or has to, but I could see that guy trying to scam kids. I could, not this guy, but our big baller guy or whatever his name is. So I could see that individual that Jeff is talking about trying to scam kids. It doesn't surprise me in one bit. I remember watching Jeff Wilson and his son. They did a video. I think it was on his son has a channel about cards. And like you said, his son is a sharp kid. I don't know how old he is. That's a sharp kid. I mean, that kid is probably lined up to have a lot of success in life. And so Jeff should be commended for that. I enjoy actually some of his son's commentary and comments on cards. I would say that Jeff's son probably knows more about cards than Jeff does. So I think it was good that Jeff did that video. I think it was good that he reached out to us and that we can, talk about this. We could talk about, that particular dealer. And then we can also, in the future, if we see him, we can, maybe do or say something about it. But hey, I guess we've been in this business a long time, 15 years. So I'm not surprised that, we would get reached out to by Jeff Wilson, and especially something involved, this involved his kids. Okay. I got to lose about 15 pounds, but once the summer hits, we'll start working out. But so I'm not, this was an issue involving Jeff's kid. I'd love to see the video of Jeff kicking this guy out of trade night. Maybe things got physical. Maybe there was some words exchanged. If Jeff's worried about the legalities of posting the video, Jeff, hey, just send an anonymous email to Sports Card Radio, and all the legal things will be on our end, and any kind of backlash. My guess is my dude in San Jose probably doesn't, probably isn't hiring a lawyer anytime soon. So he probably bounces from show to show, trying to rip off people. I mean, he had a wheel spin thing. We won a slab, and then you guys should have seen the slab, says Sky.
Oh, God. Yeah, I cut out part of the interaction. Yeah, I cut out part of the interaction. We just did a wheel spin, and then, we go over, we win a slab, and there's all these terrible slabs, and then he had this with like $100 price tag, which we just laughed at. It was the only one. I mean, I don't know I didn't even recognize the grading companies. It was like somebody slabbed those in their backyard or something. It was terrible. And then he asked to be on camera. So I thought that was kind of interesting. He was like, you guys doing a little TV show? And we're like, yeah. He was like, okay, let me and then he kind of did, I'm big ball or whatever. And so he thought that was kind of funny. And then he said, this is a gem mint. So, one thing that I wanted to bring up, Ryan, is again, we're in our 15th year over here at Sports Card Radio, producing content on the internet. You started going to the National, I think it was back in 2010, 2011, something like that, 2012. And so what's interesting is, unlike a lot of content, there are other content creators that have been around almost as long as us or as long as us, but you can't go back and listen to the content. Okay. The content's gone, or, it's not there anymore. Okay. You can literally go to sportscardradio.com and go listen to the first episode that was published in 2008. You can listen to these types of things. And I got to pause it here really quick. We've got Beers on Me. Ghost picked Jimmy, very generous. I tell you what, if there's anybody with a 9-figure bank account, I think it's Ghost picks Jimmy. He hooked us up with $49.99. I think we double dipped. We dipped on the $49.99. He hit us once and twice. Ghost picks Jimmy. It's not the first time. Very much appreciated. Ghost picks Jimmy. If you ever need anything from Sports Card Radio, you can shout us out. You can send us an email. You can contact us, and we will be more than willing to accommodate you. Thank you, Ghost Picks Jimmy, for the double dip $49.99. You absolutely guaranteed that we're probably made, in the first 45 minutes of the stream, we've made more than Backyard Breaks has, because I don't think they've broke a single thing over here. They've got 260 people in the room. Probably about 90% of them live with their mom and don't have a credit card and are just waiting for something for free to be given out. But what back to my point is you can go back and listen to our show that we did back in the 2012 National, 13 National, 14 National, where we talked about the vibe. Okay. The vibe at these shows has changed so much. Anybody that hasn't been in this hobby for very long doesn't actually realize that things have changed so much at these card shows. And we would talk about this on the air, and then you and I would talk privately, and I would almost be like, dude, why are you going to these things? Like, literally nobody's there. There's no chicks there. They're literally in like third tier cities. Everybody calls the Rosemont Chicago. No, it's like in a suburb of a suburb of a suburb of Chicago. Like, you're in the middle of nowhere. Then you go to Cleveland, which, sorry,
that's the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
That's
okay. And then you got to go to freaking New Jersey, which is one of the biggest dumps in the world. I mean, we're from Stockton, so we can confidently talk crap on many, many, many cities as we possibly can. So Ziggy, no, Sports Card Radio Head, $10. Thank you. Sports Card Radio Head. You got to be careful how you say that and who you say that to. But Sports Card Radio Head, I do get the musical reference, but there could be some other innuendo in there that we, could, Sports Card Radio Head could be a good thing, particularly for Ryan later tonight, as I'm sure he has Bumble up in the background. But anyways, I'm digressing.
That's for Friday. We'll save that till Friday.
Okay, you're saving that for Friday. Yeah, Thursday night, the girls, they got to wake up and work.
They got to work, yeah.
The card shows, just talk really briefly about how the card shows have really changed, and they've actually gotten less seedy. I would guess that every other freaking table had one of these guys at, when you were at the National or one of these mall shows, every other table had one of these guys. Okay. And now I would say that's kind of been whittled down. You have far more, everybody else that we showed in here was very respectable and cool and nice. And when we talked to them, we had a good time. I would say that that's the vast majority of people in the hobby these times when you go to the card show, but maybe discuss that 6-7 years ago, again, guys like what Jeff Wilson emailed about, that was maybe more common than it was uncommon at these shows.
Well, first of all, what was common at these shows is there was nobody there. I would show up at the National. We joke how it was the old man convention. It was the cricket convention. There would be nobody there. Now it could survive because there were these whales coming in who would spend thousands of dollars. There's always been interest in sports cards, but back in 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016, these shows were kind of, and I'm talking about the National was somewhat sparsely attended. There weren't lines to get in. There weren't trade nights after hours. It wasn't hard to get a VIP pass. There were lines for the autograph guests, but that's to be expected for some of these guys. But you could walk around the shows. And again, I have video documentation of this. You could walk around the shows unencumbered. I've seen the videos of the last few Nationals, and there's lines to get in. It's shoulder to shoulder. The tickets sell out. You can't get a hotel. It's freaking insane. It's amazing, actually. Even the show we went to on Sunday. First of all, 10 years ago, that show wouldn't exist. It would not exist. If we had a table there on Saturday with our normal $10, $15, $20 blue scrap graded cards, we would have sold thousands of dollars in cards. Thousands of dollars in cards. You're in an affluent area of California. You have a bunch of people coming in who know about that show. That's a show that has consistently gone off for the last couple years. We've set up a dealer. We've set up at a dealer at that specific show. I've attended that show myself 4 or 5 different times. They bring autograph guests into that show. I've seen Nate Diaz there. I've seen Lamont Wade Jr., Tom Rathman, and Roger Craig were going to sign autographs the day that we went. We were just kind of a few hours before them. These card shows, even a small one like that, and a mall show that nobody's ever heard of, no influencer is going to go there and take video and look at my day at the Westgate Mall show. Nobody's going to do that, but those shows exist and they can be successful in this day and age. Again, if we had a table set up on Saturday, we would have made thousands of dollars. So these card shows are totally different. The vibe is totally different. And back in the past, you would see more kind of scuzzy dealers who, were looking to rip kids off, looking to rip people off. And nowadays it is a totally different vibe. It's one thing why we're excited about buying and selling cards. You can bet your butt I'm going to take a lot of these cards I'm buying, I'm going to ship them to myself, and I'm going to go set up at a show, and we'll create content around that and video and people making trades with us and people laughing at us, and it'll be a fun time because there are actually a lot of regional shows just around me within an hour drive of me that I could go to, set up at or shop at, and conduct those trades. These are small shows that nobody's heard of, and let alone the national shows that get a lot of attention and a lot of people go to and you see video footage of. But those shows didn't exist. I've been putting up a card show calendar since 2010, 2012 on our website. There would be 3 or 4 shows a weekend. There was the Fort Wayne show in Indiana. There's some longtime shows in Kentucky. There's a Friday night show in San Diego, California that's been going on forever. There's a show up in Sacramento that's been going on for 10 years. There's a show out in Boston that goes on forever. But that was about it. Now, literally, you could go to our website, sportscardradio.com, go to the card show calendar. There's probably 20 shows this weekend just that I know of. Shout out DGen Rips for the 1999. I've checked out your channel before. Jay Dizzo, 369. I like that. 369, baby.
Thank you, DGen Rips.
DGen Rips. Check out his channel, Jay Dizzo.
And a viewer of your videos.
Yes, for sure. So the vibes at the show are totally different. I get that we're coming out of the COVID boom, card boom, and maybe you're going to some of these shows and you don't have the perspective as I do of going to these shows 10 years ago, when I was the youngest guy in the room, probably by 30 years, and there was nobody there. You didn't have to fight shoulder to shoulder to get into a table. Dealers were, practically asleep behind their tables sometimes because there was no people. So the vibes have gotten better at the shows, and but I'm not surprised that there are still kind of scummy dealers. You definitely should actually expect that. And if you have children, I would just encourage you to be careful anytime you're letting your kids loose on a trade night, or anyone, frankly, around the sports card community that you don't know on almost like a personal level. I would just encourage you to be very careful. Do we win anything? We won Derek Jeter?
So I won this Derek Jeter. I don't know if, I had to have done some research on this. I put in 275 buyer premium 330. It's probably not the best deal. It's a PSA 8 Jeter. It's the old label. I like these old labels. Not that grading standards have gotten any better. This definitely looks like an 8, but that would probably be the highest value card. We won a ton of just that kind of, again, that kind of min bid $5, $6 stuff that, we'll talk about maybe on a future show. I love this card. This Maurice Taylor went for $300, PSA 5, $300. A lot of influencers are talking about all these, modern stuff. Here's a guy, a lot of you, if you didn't watch basketball in the late 90s, you don't even remember Mo Taylor or Maurice Taylor. Here's a PSA 5, go for $300. Okay. So there's a lot of these cards that are still worth a lot of money. And when they come up for auction, you might be at a show, you might have, at a trade night where somebody has this card, they don't necessarily realize what they have. These are the kind of cards that I like. This is obviously a very well traded card. 330 is probably not, a wholesale price for that, but we'll probably can make a small amount of money. Again, what we're going to do with these cards on Golden, at least in the first 30 days, is you're going to be able to ship them. It almost was instantaneous. So we'll talk a little bit about our process. So we're over here on Golden bidding on these. We're adding, 0.2 acres to his site because we do pay a buyer's premium over here. Shout out to AJ Rose, $4.99. Love the content and information you provide. No sugarcoating, just the straight facts. That's right. Thank you, AJ Rose. Again, guaranteeing us that we are going to make more than Backyard Breaks as they're still not winning.
DC Sports, what's up, buddy? I got a couple orders I actually got to pay for.
Wow, okay. $49.99. That might
hey, that'll pay for some cards I just bought.
That'll offset. Appreciate DC Sports 87. I think we've shouted out his channel. I don't think we really need to. Most people that buy trading cards is aware of his auctions. If you're not, he's one. I don't have it up here only because I don't have my eBay login on this browser. We'll try to clean that. We're very, very high budget show over here. We do have a producer this week, so we're making progress over here at Sports Card Radio. DC Sports 87 with the $49.99. Really appreciate it. Again, he has consignments on eBay. So if you have cards you need to sell, he's certainly somebody that you can use, but we use him primarily for buying because you can get a lot. He has raw cards, graded cards, essentially the cards that he has cards of all spectrum, but particularly the ones in our alley. So basically what you do is you come over here to Kenny's site, you win these cards. We win a ton of stuff for like $6, one bid, kind of $6 type of stuff, kind of your low end type of stuff. And then what we're doing is you transfer it to the collector's vault. And what I noticed is when you come up here, you basically get an invoice. So we pay for this invoice. It's the first time we've used Kenny's site. So we're kind of learning along with maybe some of you as well. So you get these invoices, you pay those. And then I noticed actually almost instantly, some of the cards actually go into our vault. And so here's our collector's vault. So some of you might not even know that Ken Golden, I don't know for a fact, but I don't even know if he owns much of Golden anymore. He sold it to PSA, which is owned by the quote collectors group. So collectors has a vault, which is, in my opinion, and I don't know this for a fact, but I think there's a white label vault somewhere in Delaware. And I think they're doing alt. I think it's probably the same eBay vault. Like everybody's using the same vault. So if you send a card to a vault in Delaware, it's all going to the same place, in my opinion. So collectors is utilizing that with a click of a payment. Just a couple of minutes later, we got about 36 cards cleared to our vault, and you can then list them into the marketplace over at Golden. Shout out to Sports World Card Shop. Sports World Card Shop with $20. Enjoy y'all's content. Keep up the great work. Thank you, Sports World's Card Shop. Again, you are guaranteeing that we are making much more than Backyard Breaks at the moment, and the simps that clock in and defend them for free. Thank you, Broward Rips. Maybe that's Broward County. We need a soundboard for the streams where you can play the funny clips. I agree with that. We'll work on that as well. And also shout out to his boy D-Gen Rips. We're going to work on being able to, when we mention Kenny Golden's name, we'll be able to say, I've got 5 acres on a golf course. So to finish my point, your cards go over here to collectors, and then you can list them on Kenny's marketplace. And some of you might say, I've never heard of Kenny's marketplace. Up until a few weeks ago, I didn't either, but we sold 3 cards, and 3 cards is not necessarily that impressive. But when you factor in, we have just 30 cards we bought hundreds so far, but it takes a while for some of them to transfer over. My guess is some of these cards that are being auctioned on here are already in the vault. And so when you pay them, they essentially show up in your vault over here at collectors. We had only 30 cards listed. This was as of just 2 days ago, and we sold 3 cards. We sold this Montana, which we bought right here on the stream last week. We bought that Montana for what? $90, $100, and we sold it for $120. Right now, there are no selling fees. So when you sell a card for $120, you keep $120. And so, guys, we're over here trying to start a business. Do we have beef? Have we had beef with Ken Golden? Absolutely. Do I like no fees when I sell a card? Yeah, I do like that, especially when I'm in business, okay? And I know a lot of you guys can't separate business, okay? But I think the best example I saw over this past week, Elon Musk of Tesla moved his company's headquarters out of the state of California, and on the way out, he kicked Gavin Newsom in the rear end and said, I'm leaving primarily because of you. And this week, Gavin Newsom and Elon Musk were standing shoulder to shoulder doing a press conference in Palo Alto, California, where Tesla is building a headquarters for research and development. Okay. Business is business. Sometimes you hurt some feelings. Sometimes you say some things that you might mean. Sometimes you say some things maybe that are a little mean, but when you have no fees on your marketplace site and you can click buttons and make money, well, we're all over that. We sold this card for $6. That's probably about what we paid for it. And then we sold this Larry Johnson card for $8. I think we paid $6 for that. And so made a couple bucks already, and so it'll be interesting to see. David's Pokemon channel, $5. Love watching you guys. Thank you to David's Pokemon channel. Maybe you can teach us about Pokemon so we can make some intelligent decisions in that sense. We won this Derek Jeter. That was probably the coolest card that we won because I'm seeing completed. If this is right, we only have $425 worth of cards that we bought. We're actually shooting for a little higher than that. We're trying to win maybe 1,000 a week. But it's tough. Oh, no, I see. Completed bids, 851. So this Jeter chewing up almost half of that, just less of half of that. And so, we'll go through these. We'll probably make a video where we recap this. You can follow us on Instagram as well. Ryan, what do you have to talk about when it comes to our selling and buying this week?
Well, it's been fun. Just kind of trying to unload some cards on Check On My Cards, really just running a huge sale to really just trying to unload some older inventory, really just to free up some cash flow. And it is an incredible amount of fun. You can dive into the sports card world. That's what's fun about sports cards is there's so many different angles that you can take. You could take the low end, you could take the high end, you could try to buy one certain player, one certain sport. You could prospect 19, spring training is about to start up. You're going to be seeing guys break out in baseball. Maybe potentially young players play well. Series 1 baseball just came out. There were probably 15, 20 rookie cards in there that you could speculate on. So for me, cards are fun. We've had one of our, best kind of months on Check On My Cards, really because I've been blowing some cards out. I've been taking some losses on probably some cards that I've had a long time. I use a different pricing strategy now than I did in the past. I price cards really high and then I constantly run a sale. I've done different pricing strategies where you try to actually be the lowest price and maybe you accept offers. I don't do that anymore. I actually price cards really high and then just constantly run a 60 to 70% off sale, because I think anybody when they're buying cards likes to feel like they're getting a good deal. I think that's also an approach you could take at a card show. You could price everything you have really high and then just put a 50% off sticker, on your table and say everything's half off. I know that has worked for me before at shows. I know when we used to walk into card shops and you'd see the display cases, a lot of times the coolest display case was the one that was everything was 50% off or everything was on sale. And a lot of times you try to go through there and pick out your best deal. So right now I kind of run that approach on Check On My Cards. I price stuff really high and I just kind of run these big sales. There's different pricing strategies on Check On My Cards, and we're just, a couple weeks into it. A couple guys who, have sold, you've sold a lot of inventory on Amazon. I used to sell a lot of sports tickets before the government shut that down. And so, we're just getting back into it, having a lot of fun. I think if you threw enough money at it, we're going to have to spend. We're going to have to use a number of different platforms. That's why I don't just use eBay to buy and sell. Don't just use ComC to buy and sell. Don't just use Golden to buy and sell. You got to use them all. You got to use these vaults as free employees. These vaults are not a place that store my cards. These vaults I'm using to scale as a business and using them as cheap, free employees. We sold, I think, 800 cards on Check Out My Cards yesterday. Imagine if I had to actually dig through the box and pick out every single order. We wouldn't have been live today. I'd still be doing that, shipping out all 100 orders. But ComC, Golden, these vaults, PWCC has one. They allow you to scale your business. Shout out Big D Sports and Collectibles, $10. Chasing Majors, $4.99. Keep up the good work we're trying. Big D says, "What up, boys? Way to keep the hobby clean." Hey, we're trying, and I think a lot of people out there. The hobby's much different than it was 10 years ago. The hobby, in my opinion, is much cleaner than it was 10 years ago. Less of the shady guys are involved, and there are people who genuinely care about cards, genuinely care about the people in this industry. Shout out Big D. We're going to keep doing that. Chasing Majors, keep doing the good work, gents. Hey, we're going to try, buddy. Golf's coming up. We got the Masters coming up. We got Tiger Woods. I buy Tiger Woods, cheap Tiger Woods cards all the time on Check Out My Cards. Trying to win some Tiger Woods cards on Golden. Those usually end a little more expensive and a little outside of our budget. But anything, did we win that Will Grier card? That's the
no, we did not win the Will Grier.
Oh my, what did that end for? Oh, okay. I thought that was
$47 with buyer premium. If we weren't doing the live stream, okay. I would have been a little more aggressive.
I thought it was maybe a $50 bill. I was kind of
hey, somebody that wants that card has got it, and I'm happy about that.
I want to recap price on it. Let's recap. Anybody joining us late? We talked about backyard breaks. They kind of pulled a LOGOMAN card out of. Have they broke any product yet? They've literally
we've been live for an hour and they have not broken anything.
So maybe that's the biggest breaking news, is that we always hear about backyard breaks is so big, blah, blah, blah. They were at case after case after case. And here they are, and they just play with cards and actually physically don't break anything. So their breaker bought into their own breaks, hit a huge LOGOMAN card. We were discussing that. We also discussed an email that we got from hobby hero Jeff Wilson talking about an incident with a scammer. And shockingly, we're on Jeff's side here. We're on Jeff's side.
Yeah.
Jeff called this individual in the Bald Head, Big Baller TV. Apparently, Jeff had an incident with this individual at a trade night several months ago, and even made a video about it with his son. And Jeff believes this individual is a scammer. And we are on the side of Jeff Wilson here, guys. Breaking news.
Yeah.
Sports Card Radio is on the side of Jeff Wilson. I could absolutely, being around this guy for the 5 minutes that we were, this guy absolutely would try to rip off your children. So I'm just going to make that definitive statement. Jeff, if you have any videos that you want to show of that guy that you're scared of any legal recourse, Jeff, you can always send over an anonymous video and we can publish that, and no harm or foul on your. What that Nolan Ryan go for? Ooh, that
went
okay.
for 270.
Woo!
Yeah,
I'm trying to get a Nolan Ryan autograph, but they're expensive. Woo! 900
yeah, there's
for
some
that.
beautiful ones. Yeah, the Mike Trout was, I think, a 101.
Yeah, I bid on that, but I did not think it would sell for 900. So, how much that Larry Bird autograph sell for? Let's go back up. That one,
$89. It's not bad.
Okay,
I looked at that too.
It's not bad.
It's a Magic. He should have had Magic sign it too. It'd have been better, but
that's worth a lot when you have Magic on there.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's worth
there
like
were some 8x10 Larry Birds too that sold for like not that much. If you throw a frame on it, it'd be pretty cool.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of cool stuff on here. We got what I think, it looks like we got a fair amount of cards. Picked up a Jeter. People say we only, float around in kind of the low end stuff. For some reason, I love these old label PSA cards, especially when it comes to this, because it just shows you that it's original, the holder. It's been around for a while. It was a little bit before kind of the whole trim slab type of thing happened too. And so you can insulate that. And I know in the coin world, the old PCGS slabs, which are again, same company, are, very much more highly valued than maybe the more modern PCGS slabs as many.
Shout out 90s auctions for the $10. Shout out 90s auctions.
Shout out 90s auctions. Shout out Pat 989. We got a lot of super chats today. Thank you guys so much, particularly Ghost Picks Jimmy, who I think he's got, I think this guy's got more than a 9-figure bank account, because I think he tossed in another one. Should talk about how Backyard Breaks runs their own flamethrowers and their overpriced stuff. I tell you what, these guys do overpriced stuff, because if they're pricing it right, it is selling, and it's not here. And so to me, it just shows that it is not selling. Tim Collectibles coming in with $5. Thank you. What are you currently building in your long-term personal collections? In terms of trading cards, occasionally we'll buy stuff. Really, I think, and I'm just speaking for myself, I think what we're trying to do is we're trying to buy cards like this Jeter. We're trying to buy a lot of this lower end stuff that we ended up getting. I think what we're trying to do is ultimately kind of trade up into, maybe eventually you buy that Magic Johnson or that Kobe Bryant autograph, or like I was actually a bidder on this card right here. A card like this, it's just a base card, but this is from an iconic set, 0304 Exquisite, and a PSA 7 went for $910. This would be a card that I would buy, and I wouldn't be in a hurry to sell. And so I think we look at a quote PC a little bit different. That I would buy this card. I would be a seller of the card for the right price, but I would not be in a hurry to sell. But if I were to personally collect something, I tend to go to Tiger Woods, who has had a huge influence on my life. Eddie Vedder and Pearl Jam. I've tried to bid on some of the charity auction stuff that they do, autographed guitars, things like that. They tend to just go right out of my price range. I like memorabilia. I would love to decorate my walls and decorate, the cabin with those types of things. So that is probably where we're headed. In terms of trading cards, nothing right off the top of my head that's in my price range. But if budget was less of an issue, Kobe Bryant autographs. Kobe Bryant is somebody that is, an emotional attachment for me in particular. And I spent a large part of my life following his career, and he entertained me many times over the 2 decades that he played. Kobe is high on the list. Tiger Woods, also another guy I've spent probably months of my life watching, and I've traveled across the country to go see. Those would be the 2 athletes for me. And then from a music standpoint, I would like to collect a little bit more Pearl Jam memorabilia and certainly Nirvana memorabilia. If you could find something that was legitimate and authentic, I wouldn't mind collecting those. As from an athlete perspective, Kobe and Tiger Woods had the greatest influence on me. And then from a music perspective, Pearl Jam and Nirvana would be what I would like to collect if I didn't have 2 kids going to private school at the moment and I didn't have any extra money. Ryan, anything you like PCing other than you're probably in a similar boat with some of that stuff?
Well, yeah, we both have a huge emotional connection to the San Francisco Giants as well. I'm looking forward to the season.
Sure.
I watch baseball probably more than any other sport. I used to go to minor league games. I've probably been to 500 minor league games. Used to live in Arizona. We'd go to the Arizona Fall League. I've seen probably all the best players, all the MVPs currently playing in the major league. I saw them play in Arizona. I saw them play in the minor leagues going 5-10 years ago. So I love baseball, love the San Francisco Giants, huge emotional attachment to all of them. Would love the Evan Longoria Superfractor. Shout out if Evan Longoria is one of the 700 people watching. I know he attends card shows. I know he attends, sometimes comments on sports card content. There's a big mystery. Maybe we should do a video sometime of the missing Evan Longoria Superfractor. If I ever get an opportunity to see him in real life, hey, it'd be fun to talk to him about his career with the Tampa Bay Rays and with the Giants. But I want to ask him, did he keep his Superfractor? Is he the one that has it? This has been a hobby mystery going back, 2007 or 2009, whenever he broke in. I mean, we're literally talking about a 15-year-old hobby mystery. Does Evan Longoria have his Superfractor? That's something that I want to know. So he's a former Giant. We have a huge connection to them. I showed a Pablo Sandoval, showed a Nate Sherhole, showed a Matt Cain card before. Those are all keepers. Those aren't for sale. Anything that I get Giants-wise, we keep. So Lucas says, you guys dipping on ComC, dipping Barry Sanders. And okay, yes, Lucas bought a Barry Sanders card, I believe from Check Out My Cards eBay account. And he legitimately won the card. And what happened is that after he paid for, there we go. We bought a Luca the other day. I bought that. So we'll see. Probably actually sold a couple of these cards. The first card I bought, I already sold actually. The Jeff Corness at Beam Team. Lucas Factor bought a Barry Sanders card from ComC, paid for it, and then ComC freaking came back like 2 days later and was like, "Oh, hey, we double sold this. We can't. We're just going to give you your money back. Hey, sorry." That's a tough situation. I've had that happen to me. I didn't go reach out for an explanation, but I have bought things on Check On My Cards, and it said, "Hey, I paid for it. It showed up in my account, and then it got taken out of my account, and the money was refunded." Presumably, I think probably because the seller, Check On My Cards, as a consigner, the seller probably got upset that it ended too low, right? Because I buy a lot of low end stuff. So it's and this guy Lucas bought a Barry Sanders card that wasn't very expensive, but it was a nice card. I think it was serial numbered 1 of like 99. So it was numbered 1 of 99. So it was a pretty rare card. And Check On My Cards, they're a consigner. They're going to be things that happen. And honestly, I think, they probably should offer you a $5 credit or some other kind of something just to make you feel better because, hey, you win a card like that. That may have been the card you wanted. That may have been the card you've been looking for all week. Maybe Barry Sanders is your guy, and that's all you look for. For me, when that happens to me and I get refunded, it doesn't bum me out because I'm like, oh, well, that's just another $6 graded card that whatever. I don't care about it. I'll buy another one. But for people that, are collecting Barry Sanders, it is important. So I think Check On My Cards, when they do that, when they double sell something, when they have to refund you, either it's their bad or whatever, whoever's bad it is, they should give you, even if it's $5, even if it's a freaking dollar. Right. I think they should throw you. I think all companies should do this. This isn't just exclusive to ComC. If you buy something on Golden and they pull it back, I think there should be a $5 credit. If you buy something on eBay, eBay's probably too big, and they're never going to do that. But I think it should happen. So Lucas got screwed, and
I think he should contact them. And then look, I haven't run into Tim in a while. I was last there. I think I was looking through the podcast. It was like 9 years ago. I was there, met with him at the ComC headquarters, and had an hour-long talk with him. I haven't ran into him in a while. I haven't gone to any of these industry events in the past year or so. But Lucas, if we run into him, it's something that we'll bring up with him and discuss. But I would encourage you to email them, email all the way up to Tim. Pro tip for anybody out there: you deal with any business, don't just email customer service. Go find the CEO of the company and email them, and then you often get far better customer service. I have a lot of great success when I am mad at a company. I'll email everybody. On LinkedIn is probably your best option. You go to LinkedIn. If you can't find a contact or an email, you go to LinkedIn and you start emailing people's managers and their bosses, and it's amazing. Trust me, it's amazing the customer service you get after you find the regional director or the CEO, even in a lot of cases, coming in there. Trader Griff's threw in a $4.99. Enjoy watching you guys hustles from the ground floor. And that's kind of what we're showing you guys here. Look, we've been trading cards for a long time on, not only these platforms. You can go to like our purchases by year. Our Check Out My Cards account goes all the way back to 2011 when you bought over 24,000 cards in 1 year.
Look at my biggest year was 2012, actually.
2012. Yeah. And so we've been doing this for a while. I guess that's 10, 12 years now. And so we have an eBay account going back to, I think, like 1999 or something is the date on our eBay account. And we got a wholesale license back in 2001, I think. And so we had a card shop for a while from 16 to 18. And so we've been doing this a long time, but, we're trying to, maybe do a little bit different strategy. Ryan talked about how I've been selling on Amazon for the past 6 years. So we've been doing a lot of supplies and board games and those types of things. But this single card thing, we are going to try to scale up, and we are going to try to show it to you from the ground floor. I know there's going to be some people that are like, how could you go to 4.3 acres on a golf course and 9-figure bank accounts website? And again, guys, I know a lot of you guys out there that work hourly jobs. Those of you that have never built up a business is business, guys. It's not personal. There was a great TV show that was hosted actually by a former president called The Apprentice. And the slogan right before the show started was, this is business. It's not personal. And when you're trying to start a business, oftentimes you are dealing with people that are your competitors or you've had beef with in the past. Google is the default search engine on your Apple phone. And there are many, many other examples of competitors often working together. You can use Microsoft Office on an Apple computer. There are a lot of examples of how two companies go head to head, but then in the example of Google, they pay Apple billions of dollars to be the default search engine on your phone. And so look, when there's money to be made, if that makes us bad people, that's fine. I'm not trying to be a good person. I'm trying to run and build up a successful business, and we're trying to build it up using all the platforms that we can. Right now, looks like to me, the best deals that we're getting and the best deals we're finding are on these weekly auctions, which end here on Thursdays here on Kenny's site and on the daily over here at Check Out My Cards. And I didn't bring it up here, but we posted about it. The cards that we negotiated with the two fine young men at this card show, we got this Luca and we got this other one. I flipped those on Macari. I bought these cards along with a Joe Burrow and a Joe Montana. I paid $45 for all of these, and I sold just the Luca and the two Lucas for, I believe, $56 after fees on Macari. So we're going to be buying stuff in person. We'll be buying stuff on Golden. We'll be buying stuff on eBay. I don't have the eBay auctions up. We spent a couple $100 on eBay this week, particularly at Super Chat contributor DC Sports
87.
We spent quite a bit of time on his auctions getting outbid primarily, but we did happen to win some things. Ryan, we are 120 in. It looks like we've got Big D Sports and Collectibles saying, do you guys ever deal with non-sports such as garbage pails, clids, That's what I do on my channel right now, and I've been actually doing pretty well. I don't have any expertise in it. I have bought and sold some of this stuff, particularly some of the unopened product, maybe occasionally the single cards, but I do not have any particularly I don't have any expertise in that. So I would assume anybody that's looking maybe for some of that, Big D Sports and Collectibles, probably has some knowledge on that. And I think those kind of that non-sport stuff is kind of what most sports card collectors refer to that as. There's a lot of opportunity there. And while, maybe the fluctuation in price might not be what you see in sports trading cards, the steadiness of it is really good and predictable. And if you can get those cards at the right price, look, it's fantastic. Phil Murphy coming in saying you guys might make enough tonight to win a Joe Montana collection item from Golden. Hey, Kenny, shout out to your 4.5 acres and your 9-figure bank account. If you want to buy that, what is it, the Super Bowl jersey, and send it to us, we'll put it here in the background.
Ken, if you're watching, I'd look great in Joe Montana's Hall of Fame jacket.
And the helmet.
It's really cold out. It's unusually cold out here, actually, probably all across the country, but out here in California, it's a little chilly. So, Ken, I'd look great in that Joe Montana Hall of Fame jacket. So, I mean, all yellow. I could walk outside.
There's two of us, so you have to get the jacket and I have to get the jersey.
That'll work. We could trade. We could just. That would
just be a point, probably 0.1 acre, or just a small smidgen off of the 9-figure bank account.
Yes,
I would imagine.
Oh, and our producer says he takes the socks. Our producer Tim says he's going to get the socks.
Okay, he'll take the socks. I love it.
Yeah.
We had a producer all night, Tim Kim, in the background. Shout out to him. He's been controlling the chat and keeping us organized over here at Sports Card Radio. Ryan, we've been live for an hour and 20 minutes, and Backyard Breaks has broken nothing. They have 270 people sitting in their room. We outpaced them on viewers, and I think we outpaced them on earnings as well, thanks to the generosity of all of you out there. 90s Auctions, Pat, Lucas, Trader Griff, Chasing Majors, Big D Sports, Sports World Card Shop, Broward Rips, DC Sports 87, DGen Rips, Jay Dizzo, and the hugest supporter of the show is Ghost Picks Jimmy's, with multiple super chats tonight, just guaranteeing that we made much more than the Simps.
Hall of Famer Logan Ward in the chat. Logan Ward is a PSA Hall of Famer. I was actually at his induction ceremony at the National. They have a luncheon every year. I mean, is there a higher honor in sports cards than being inducted into the PSA Hall of Fame? So this guy's collection is so big that he got inducted. It's actually NASCAR cards predominantly, and he got inducted to the PSA Hall of Fame. So that's a big thing. That's pretty big. Boxing Love 3003 says, love the videos you're editing, is hilarious. First time thanks for tuning in live.
Thanks for tuning in.
I love doing the video editing, and it's something
we'll try to include it in the live stream. I will try to figure out how to do that over the next week, and next week we'll try to anytime we mention somebody, we'll be able to play their clips and maybe their sound effects here on the show. I'm sure we can.
They should pop up. That would be hecka funny. I saw it on Joey's stream. How he gets Daniel to show up, and it's freaking great.
But Ryan, you have any closing words for the faithful? As again, we're watching Backyard Breaks, essentially breaking nothing for the hour and 20 minutes we've been live.
I think that's the biggest breaking news. Is people always tell me how these guys are so big and they break all the time, and they've broken nothing. So I guess we could use this as video evidence. Since Whatnot doesn't save anything, we can use this as video evidence next time. Say, hey, we spoke for 1 hour and 23 minutes. And Big D's Collectible says Garbage Pail Kids is where it's at. I will be live tomorrow night with Garbage Pail Kids top sketch artist ripping a couple boxes. So that sounds very entertaining. Big D Sports Cards has the actual Garbage Pail sketch artist ripping a couple boxes. Garbage Pail Kids go back to the freaking 1980s, I think the mid 1980s. One of the legendary Topps kind of IP that they own, actually, and these cards have become really popular. I think Topps has reintroduced them maybe, it's probably going 5-6 years ago. Could be speaking out of school there. and they have once again become very popular. There is our boy Grant getting sniffed by, that is an official, guys, Fanatics dog right there. That is an official Fanatics purebred dog there, sniffing the undercarriage of Mr. Grant Telford over at Backyard Breaks. Colin, anything else for the people who have been so kind and generous with their time here listening to us ramble about sports cards?
Thank you, Ziggy No, for the Sports Card Radio head as well. We appreciate that.
Yes.
And thank you for all tuning in. I think it's appropriate. We'll bring up the Jeff Wilson email and lead it out with none other than B-side. Search B-side.
Shout out JV.
Yes, that's right. Ruin the Hobby I Love by B-side on Apple Music, Spotify, anywhere where you get your music. This guy has been rapping for a long time, is a prolific artist, has multiple albums. If you like Ruined the Hobby I Love by B-side, please go to his Spotify, Apple Music. I'm assuming he probably gets paid every time you stream this. So go to Apple Music. I pulled it up in the Tesla this last week, and you can listen to this song anytime you wish. Thank you for tuning in. We'll be back again next Thursday here on Sports Card Radio, live on Thursday. Thank you, Tim Kim, the producer.
Thanks, Tim.
Ryan, all the super chats, the support out there. Ghost Picks Jimmy, thank you very much. We'll see you again next Thursday, guys.
What's going
We're
on
out of
with
here.
that PPP? You done a lot of talking, not a lot to see. Up in the millions like 2.3, but Jeff got it all, getting off scot-free. Try to talk tips like we talking about stock, but you're talking about men printed on called stock. When you open your mouth, I take it with a grain of salt, cause the market's down and you're a clown, it's all your fault. You ruin the hobby I love with your bullshit. Jeff Wilson, Jeff Wilson. You ruin the hobby I love with your bullshit. Jeff Wilson, Jeff Wilson. Did you dip, Jeff? I think you dipped, Jeff. What you talking about? I don't think you dipped yet. Willie's doing shady shit like the GOBs, like his whole failed thing with them NFTs, taking money from the people to pay. Most of them are broke, but that's okay, he's getting money. Even better, tax-free, loving all the stimulus from PPP. You ruin the hobby I love with your bullshit. Jeff Wilson, Jeff Wilson. You ruin the hobby I love with your bullshit. Jeff Wilson, Jeff Wilson. You ruin the hobby I love with your bullshit. Jeff Wilson, Jeff Wilson. You ruin the hobby I love with your bullshit.
Peace.
Later, guys. Appreciate you.